What if your purpose wasn't to find peace, but to prepare for battle every day? The ancient Norse believed that the greatest warriors didn't die. They were chosen to become the Einherjar, Odin's army of the fallen, fighting, dying, and rising again for eternity to fight beside Odin. Today we're going to explore what it means to live like that. In the halls of Valhalla, the Einherjar spend their days locked in combat. They fight until they fall, and at dusk their wounds heal. They gather at long tables, drink poured by the Valkyries, and feast on the meat of a magical boar that regenerates every night. And tomorrow, they'll do it all again. To outsiders, that sounds a little nutty, and it might sound like a curse. Endless fighting, what is that? But to be a warrior, it's kind of heaven, because for them, struggle is purpose. Discipline, hardship, and endurance. That's what gives life meaning to the warrior. That's what the Einherjar teach us. And that's what we're going to break down. Not as mythology, but as a modern code for living. I will say this. This episode is about the ancient Norse term and what it means to be a warrior. We're going to explore the philosophical meaning of that, not political ideology and modern interpretations. Some of these words have been in the media, and that's not what this is about. Okay? Just want to set that straight. What is Einherjar? Okay? The word literally translates into those who fight alone. Not because they're lonely, but because the warrior's path is ultimately personal. It's internal. No one can swing a sword for you. No one can endure the grind for you. No one can endure the doubt, or the fatigue. Just you. You're the only one who can do that. No one is coming to save you. You've probably heard that before. So to be Einherjar is to accept that your life is a constant battlefield, and your greatest opponent lives inside your own mind. Every time you wake up and choose to do the hard thing, to train when you're tired, stay disciplined when no one's around and there's no reason to, when you speak the truth when it's uncomfortable, or when you know there will be repercussions for you personally, but you know the truth, that's when you're fighting the real battle, right? That's modern Valhalla. Most people don't understand it, and most people never enter it. Every day, the Einherjar die and rise again. That's myth, but it's also metaphor, okay? You die every time you fail, every time you quit, every time you break your word to yourself or to others. But we're not talking about real death. We're talking about metaphorical death. So you get to rise again. That's the beautiful point to life. You rise again, and you can choose to come back stronger, smarter, humbler. So these deaths, that's how you grow. It's the price of becoming unbreakable. Think about it. You go to the gym and you push yourself to failure. Why do you do that? So that tomorrow you rebuild stronger. You endure rejection in business, especially if you're in sales. Why do you do that? So that you can rise again, so you can sharpen your strategy and win. You fail in relationships. You can learn humility and empathy. A warrior's life is not about avoiding pain. It's about harnessing it. And that's what makes this concept eternal. It's the willingness to suffer meaningfully, okay? The wound is a place where the light enters you. Rumi, even a Persian poet, understood this ancient Norse truth that pain is transformation. So along with these Norse concepts, we get this concept of Ragnarok, right? The end of the world. If you've seen the movie Thor Ragnarok, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But so these warriors weren't training for nothing. They were preparing for Ragnarok, right? They were preparing for the day when they would rise and fight, stand beside Odin and fight chaos itself. Now, for you and me, Ragnarok is not some cosmic apocalypse. And regardless of what you've heard, the world is not ending on a certain date, in a couple of months. But it is the unexpected challenges that test everything that you've built, right? If you've ever suffered a layoff, you've ever suffered a negative diagnosis on something, you've ever been betrayed by someone, if you've ever felt burnout from work, when the moment comes, your inner strength won't come from motivation, but you'll fall back on habit. You'll fall back on the level of your training from the thousands and thousands of small, disciplined things that you did when nobody was watching, that you did just for you. So the question becomes, are you living like you're training for your own Ragnarok? Because the day will come, and when it does, you're exposed, right? So the untrained, the unprepared have fear, right? But the Einherjar, we prepare, warriors prepare, right? Think back to when you're taking a test and you're super nervous or panicked. Usually because you didn't study, you didn't prepare. Think about it. Let's talk about this concept of Valhalla. Discipline is heaven, okay? People today think heaven is comfort, unlimited pleasures, no resistance, no struggles. That's really hell in disguise. Valhalla is different. It's active peace. It's the kind of fulfillment that comes from fighting the good fight every day, from mastery, from courage, from discipline, having fulfillment. Modern Valhalla isn't a mythical hall in the clouds. It's your gym, it's your dojo, your business, your art studio, maybe your home, maybe your backyard. Anywhere that you show up and give your all, that's sacred ground. You might have heard this old proverb before. It's been around forever, but it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener. So the warrior reminds us that peace without readiness is an illusion. You don't find peace by escaping the fight. You find it by earning the right by going through. The obstacle is the way. Which when we talk about the obstacle is the way, I'm invoking Ryan Holiday and his Stoic readings and interpretations in philosophy. And there's a reason why Stoicism and the warrior ethos sort of align closely, right? Marcus Aurelius: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is the way. So these Norse warriors lived this before this was even written, right? They didn't avoid obstacles, they sought them out. They didn't pray for the easy day. They prayed for strength to withstand the difficult day. Just like Miyamoto Musashi trained for years in isolation. Just like the samurai meditate on death every morning. The Norse warrior faced mortality, not with fear, but with acceptance. That's how you become dangerous in the best sense of the word, capable, composed, and controlled. So, live like an Einherjar today. What does that mean? We don't carry swords and armor. We don't fight to the death in our daily life. This isn't ancient Scandinavia. But what it does mean is it means we choose the path through struggle over avoidance and stagnation. We seek out challenges instead of seeking out comfort. We face inner chaos in life with courage. And we rise anew every time we fail. Being a warrior today means you train your body not for looks, but for being ready. You sharpen your mind, reading, reflecting, journaling. You guard your spirit, not with dogma, but with awareness and truth. It's not about perfection. It's about repetition. And the warrior dies every day, and every day they rise again. So we must do the same. The warrior doesn't just fight to win, okay? The warrior fights because fighting is what gives meaning to your existence. We all have our own Valhalla, your life, your purpose, your mission, whatever that is for you. Every challenge you face is a call to arms. So fight your battles well. When you fall, rise again. When you rise, train harder. And when you train, remember, this is the path. Because to live like a warrior is to live without fear of death and to die without regret. Train, fall, rise, feast, repeat. That is the warrior mindset.